they kept telling me like not to push because I was like, I think I have to push. And they're like, no, like it's not time to push. And I'm like, I'm a passenger in my body right now. Like I'm not even calling the shots. Like
Yes.
we're just like doing things are just happening, you know?
So hi, Paige. So happy to have you here. I want to know what made you want to go natural or unmedicated in the first place.
It's just kind of something I've always pictured myself as a mom, and I've always wanted to do it naturally. I don't like Western medicine typically anyhow, like for myself, and we'll try and, you know, if I have a cold or whatever it may be, I'll try and heal myself the natural route. And so when it came to childbirth, it was just like always something I thought I would do, you know, doing the medicated route was never really something that was of interest to me. So.
Gotcha. So never appealed to you. So you were sold from the beginning. Did you have any fears around birth?
You know, I had the only fear that I had, or the only like anxiety around childbirth that I had was pooping.
Yes.
That's the only pain didn't scare me. Like, you know, none of that bothered me. So.
Yep. Pooping and tearing usually are the two that come up for moms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And most of the time we don't even know if we're pooping or not. And it's like, so not a big deal whatsoever. So
I've read things that say like in the moment, you don't even care. And that was so true.
Yes. Yes. And usually the body with all those prostaglandins, like you almost get cleaned out and the body prepares. So, but yes. Okay. So that was so not too bad. So you didn't have these limiting beliefs. You were like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah. Yep.
And here we go. Okay, cool. How did you prepare physically, would you say, for the marathon of natural childbirth?
I'm a pretty active person, like pretty healthy and fit. And so like going into pregnancy and stuff, I just wanted to maintain that, especially as I got closer to when I was actually going to be giving birth. But I did a ton of like prenatal yoga and just like regular yoga classes. So I attended those a couple times a week. And that was super helpful. I also went on lots of like walks and hikes. I live up in the mountains in Colorado. So
nice.
I kind of have like all the nature I could ever want right outside my front door. So just getting out, for regular walks and stuff.
That is awesome.
Trying to stay active. Yeah.
Yeah. I went to a school in Boulder, so I love Colorado. I love hiking.
Yeah, it's so beautiful here.
Yes, it is. Okay. So I think yoga too is just such a special exercise for birth because it really helps you practice going into your breath, holding those uncomfortable poses. At least for me, yoga is hard. So when I'm in certain poses, especially when I was pregnant, it's like, okay, I really need to breathe through this, which is exactly what happens when you've got to go through a contraction. So it's such a beautiful, preparation. Okay. How did you train your brain for birth?
Tried to just gain all the knowledge that I could. I read a ton of books on like natural childbirth, mindful birthing, and how to use like meditation and breath work, and definitely implemented a lot of those like meditation and breathing practices leading up to birth, so that when I was like, in labor, I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, how do I, what was that one thing that I read that one time? So just like actively putting into practice the things that I was reading throughout my pregnancy. And that was super helpful.
Good for you. Yeah. That's huge. That is huge because it's not going to come in handy if you don't have practice. Practice really makes it permanent. So good for you for doing it when you're pregnant before you go into labor. Yeah. How did you know you were in labor for real?
When I woke up at like 3:00 in the morning and I was it was like a cramp, more like a period like cramp. And I hadn't had any cramping throughout pregnancy, really. Like the Braxton Hicks contractions definitely felt different than that. And so when I woke up and felt that, I was kind of like tired, sleepy still. So I like tried to close my eyes and go back to sleep. And then it kind of kept coming. And I was like, then my thought was like, I wonder if this is like a real contraction. A few minutes later, I was like, okay, that's definitely what this is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So cool. So you kind of just intuitively knew it just felt different. It kept continuing on. It got longer.
And I've been having a feeling the last couple of days that I was going to be having the baby early. I just felt different.
Okay.
Like I never thought I would make it to the end of October, which is when his due date was. So yeah, I kind of like knew when I woke up. I was like, I bet that's what this is.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you had him almost a month early, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, like 3.5 weeks early. Yep.
Did that create panic or fear when you're like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening?
Not necessarily. The only thing I got a little bit of like panicky about was we had originally planned to go to a local birth center in Boulder. And since I hadn't made it to 37 weeks yet, they told me I had to go to the hospital. And I just had a lot of fear surrounding having to go to a hospital just because I know they can sometimes push a lot of like interventions and, medications. And I just really, really wanted to still go the natural route. So that was the only time that I kind of got like a little panicky, but nothing surrounding like if he would be okay. I had a really awesome pregnancy, never had any issues.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
figured
So
he's
all
gonna
was
come
well
when
with
he
baby.
wants.
Yeah. Okay. So, but that definitely puts like a little like change of course in the midst of labor. It's like, oh my gosh, like this is,
Yep.
So, but good for you for just, riding the unexpected and just continuing forward. So like when you started going to labor, did you call your midwife and how did you know it was time to go to the hospital?
It was, like I said, it was about 3:15 in the morning when I woke up and started having these contractions. And I figured like, if this was really it, we could be having like a long day ahead of us. And so I wanted my partner to be able to get some rest. And so I just went downstairs into our living room and I hung out like on the couch for a while until about 5:30 when the contractions started to like, I was like, okay, I think I need like support going through these now. So then I came and I woke him up. He timed them for me for about an hour. So till about 6:30. And then they were pretty close together. So I was like, okay, we should call the birth center. And that's when we called. And they're like, yeah, it sounds like you could probably head down.
Okay.
So I waited as long as I could. I was like trying to let him get some rest. And, they weren't super bad for a while. So I was like, I'm fine. I can do this,
Gotcha. Yeah. What did you do like in those couple hours by yourself? Were there any comfort measures that really helped you?
A lot of like the mindfulness stuff, again, just practicing breathing. Yeah. I was excited, I think, more than anything else. So it was like a lot of excitement. Yeah.
Totally. That's awesome. Okay. So you called your birth center and they're the ones that instructed you, okay, it's time to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
So did your midwife meet you at the hospital or was this now you were with like a random OBGYN that you hadn't seen before?
Luckily, the community hospital that we ended up going to in Boulder has a birth center within it. So none of the midwives I had been working with throughout my pregnancy were there. It was all brand new people. But it wasn't an OBGYN. It was midwives within this hospital.
Awesome. Oh my gosh.
It was all new faces. Yeah.
Okay. So new faces, but at least they were kind of like on your same page.
Yes, they totally were.
Which
yeah. They were wonderful. Yeah.
That is awesome. So then you arrive at this birth center or this hospital that had a birthing center. They check you and what's the story?
They checked me. They had to hook me up to like a monitor to check him just for like 10 minutes. And he was totally fine. So they unhooked me from that. They checked me. I was already 8 centimeters dilated.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah. And the birth center I was going to give birth at had sent over my birth plan. And part of my birth plan was I really wanted like a water birth. And they don't let you do that in a hospital. You can labor in a tub, but not give birth. But they did have a tub and they asked me if I still wanted to like, get in the tub. I said, absolutely. So they filled up like a warm bath for me and then got me in there and I was able to start laboring in the tub, which was amazing.
It sounds like you could like basically went through transition in the tub, which is awesome.
I did. Yeah.
That is a great time to go in the tub because it's not going to slow down your labor. Your labor has already left the station, like it's on its way. And usually you will not stall out during transition. So what a great time.
Yeah.
Plus it's the peak of pain and the water is so incredible for
the
pain.
Water was amazing. Yeah. I thought for a few minutes I was going to have him in the tub. We were like that close.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I know. It's all those technicalities. It's like, get out. You have to get out. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Would you have just given birth in the tub had it been your way?
I think so. Like having to, they kept telling me like not to push. Cause I was like, I think I have to push. And they're like, no, like it's not time to push. And I'm like, I'm a passenger in my body right now. Like I'm not even calling the shots. Like,
yes,
we're just like doing, things are just happening, So I think had I been allowed to, I probably would have, just cause like having to like wait for a contraction to pass and having to get up and like move to another area in like the 2 seconds I had in between contractions was like, it was fine, but I probably just would have stayed put had I been able to.
Yeah. I hear you. Was there anything, so you're in the water, so that was probably your biggest tool during transition. Did anything else, did any of your mindfulness shift at all or any kind of mantra or anything that helped you kind of get through that real intense time?
Yeah. So one mantra I use a lot, like I use it in regular yoga practice is when I breathe in, I say in my head, like, I am breathing in. And then when I breathe out, I am breathing out. It's super simple, but I am breathing in, I am breathing out. And it just really keeps my focus and my mind on the breath rather than letting it wander. Like mantras are really powerful for me. Otherwise my mind will just kind of go do its own thing. So that was super helpful in the moment. Yeah.
I saw in your story, you said that you use sounding.
Totally.
Could you explain what that is for us?
Yeah. Just like, it kind of just happens almost naturally. It's just like these primal like sounds that kind of come out of you, just like oohs and you know, things like that. And they're probably a lot louder than that.
Yes.
Like
so some of those like guttural noises. Yes.
Yeah.
Those are really powerful, really helpful. Yeah. Okay. And then pushing. So you had to get onto land to push. And how did that process go? What position did you like?
Since I woke up, the best position for me was on my hands and knees. Like every time a contraction would come, it was hands and knees. That was really helpful. And so they told me, besides the water, I could give birth wherever and however I wanted. And I really wanted to be on my hands and knees. So I was like, I'll go to the bed, you know, have something like soft underneath my hands and knees. And yeah, I just barely made it to the bed and hopped up there on all fours. My body was already involuntarily like bearing down. So it's like, I didn't even really need to push. It was like just happening. And it just took three pushes and that was it.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh. You were blessed, mama. So from start to finish, how long was your labor?
6 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh my gosh. That is incredible for a first time mama. I hope mamas are listening and are inspired and be like, oh my gosh, excited. I have to know, did you do the red raspberry leaf tea or the dates?
I did. Yep. Both. Yep. Absolutely.
See, this is what I see, mamas. The moms that do the red raspberry leaf tea, usually around starting the second trimester and the 6 dates a day, starting at 36 weeks, they tend to have faster, easier labors. So
yeah. Yep. And I definitely did both of those. So
wow. So when you finally got to see your son, I mean, it went so quickly. What was your reaction? What was the first thing you said to him?
Oh my gosh. It was such a surreal moment. There's so many like hormones and I mean, it's just like almost like an indescribable feeling staring at him and looking at my partner and then staring back at the baby and then my partner. And, you know, it was just like so many awesome emotions and such a natural high. It's amazing.
Your partner must have been like, yes, you rock that, mom.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. He was actually towards the end when I was pushing and stuff, he was actually sounding with me. And when we've talked about it after and he's like, you were just so powerful. You just like took me with you. And next thing I knew, I was just like making all of the sounds you were making.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah. He was a real birth partner there.
Oh, he was so wonderful to have him there. Yeah.
That is fantastic. Well, congratulations, Paige. I'm so happy for you. And how is it being a new mama, the sleep, the nursing? How's all that going for you?
You know, it's not as like bad as I thought it would be. You know, it's like even with birth, like you see in the movies and you're like, oh my gosh, that's going to be so painful and horrible. And it's kind of how it's depicted in the world too. Like being a new mom, you're just like so exhausted and, you know, it's awful. And it's, you know, the lack of sleep and everything is just so worth it. Like,
yes,
you know, I honestly like in the middle of the night when I'm up nursing him or whatever, it's such a special time too. So I don't mind it whatsoever. It's been, well,
I think it's like using that mindfulness even in motherhood, right? So you can just be in the moment with him and, you know, we can survive anything in the moment. It's when we start projecting like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, or is he going to nap, or what's going to happen, or how am I going to get the laundry? And that's what actually causes a lot of our pain and suffering. If we can just be in the moment, be present, then that's where the happiness is.
Yeah. So. And it goes by quickly, you know, it's like, he's already almost 4 weeks and like that just blows my mind. So I'm trying to enjoy every single moment, whether I perceive it to be stressful or not.
That is very wise.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so awesome. Well, it sounds like you're just in tune with your intuition and you're just enjoying this ride. And so I don't know. I'm so thrilled for you. I think you did such an awesome job, Paige.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing this story. It's going to inspire so many mamas, and happy healing up and just enjoying your little sweet baby boy.
Thank you so much, Genevieve. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and ring that bell. Also, head on over to mamanatural.com/updates and sign up for my free pregnancy week-by-week series. Each week, you'll see what's up with baby, what's up with mama, and learn how to have your best, most natural pregnancy. Finally, check out the Mama Natural Birth Course. You've been told that childbirth is scary and something completely out of your control. But I'm here to tell you something different. You can rock your childbirth. And midwife Maura Winkler and I will teach you how. And join the thousands of women just like you who have joined my birth course and have had triumphant natural childbirths. Learn more at mamanaturalbirth.com.